be standing here today without a journey, right? So, again, she said, my name is Cheron Johnson. I am an ex-convicted felon. I can say ex now, because before I couldn't say that. At the age of 31, I was incarcerated federal prison. My sentence was 90 months. And I had never been in trouble a day in my life. Never even had a speeding ticket. So that was my first run. My charges were originally conspiracy to drug distribution of cocaine and money laundering. How I got there was my significant other, we owned a business at the time. He was selling drugs out of our business. I'm knowing this to a lot of things, state of Virginia, you're just guilty by association, however it falls. Everything was in my name, from our house to our cars to everything. So at the end of the day, I had to bite the bullet. And that was probably one of the most traumatic moments of my life, because at the time I had a 2-year-old. And I was so green to the whole thing, I didn't even know who the DEA was. I didn't even know what that stood for. That's how green I was to it. So I remember that moment so clearly. I remember that moment, even standing right here, right now. And let me be clear, I talk about it a lot, but this is my very first time expressing it to people outside of my family and, you know, just expressing it, being on that platform. So I want my story to not only be a testimony for me, but for y'all too, to show you what resiliency look like, all right? When you open the dictionary, I'm right there, okay? Just let's be clear about that. Let's just be clear about that, okay? So I went through that whole process. I didn't know what that process looked like, but I'm gonna come from a space, I'm gonna show you what redemption looks like. I'm gonna walk you through it, okay? I'm gonna give you 3 words: redemption, real, and resiliency. We're gonna walk through redemption first, because at the end of the day, nothing in life is done by you. Sometimes it's done by God, and we have to just own it. For me, prison time was redemption from God, because He didn't take me away because I was in trouble. He took me away to save me and help me understand who I am, identify who I am. So from the first day that I was put in handcuffs, I was redeemed right then and there, because the moment I went through intake, the pastor that was the intake officer was a pastor at my church. That's one blessing. Second blessing was, I said, call Bishop, because I belong to the Mount Chesapeake. I said, call Bishop. That man came in on his off day with a message from Bishop and said, I'm out of town. I heard what happened. I'll be to see you on Monday. I held on to that piece of paper for that entire weekend, because I got arrested on a Thursday. So I read, I said, my bishop gonna be here Monday. Sure enough, Bishop showed up, talked to me through a plexiglass. He prayed with me. He asked me what happened. That was my second blessing. The third blessing, even after going through court, I didn't get out on the bond like I thought it was. There's a young lady that worked at the prison. She put me in a classes that you're not supposed to get in unless you're gonna be there for a long time. But she put me in the class so I wouldn't lose my mind in those first steps or moments. So that's my third blessing. So I'm telling y'all this because at the end of the day, when the journey look rough, God is always in the middle of it, no matter what we look like, right? Okay, you know what I'm saying? So God is always there. So He ordained my journey that was supposed to break me, but He's building me all the way up. So I go to court, I get out on my own bond. So I'm sitting there, I gotta go report to the federal building, get my ankle monitor, do all that good stuff. When I tell you, I had the best federal probation officer that man could ever create, and I'm gonna tell you why she's the best, right? Because she's my fourth blessing. And when I speak of this lady, I speak of her with so much love in her heart, because I can sit at her table right now and eat dinner with her. She calls me her goddaughter. We outside in the world together. The same lady who put the ankle monitor on me, who I reported to every month, who I had to do a UA in front of every month. I sit at her table with her and break bread like nothing ever happened, okay? So, at the end of the day, that's my fourth blessing. And I'm only walking you through this because then I didn't see the blessings. But when Renita asked me to do this, I started thinking about it. I was like, what am I gonna tell these people? And it was struggling, but I gotta just look at it. I'm blessed. My journey that was supposed to break me, I'm blessed. So I remember doing my first UA with her, and she said, "You don't look like nothing that this paper tells me." She said, "You look like a young lady who just got caught up and missed the boat." She said, "But I got you." This lady had been with the FBOP for 27 years. I was her very last case. She rolled with me until I got sentenced and she retired. So from when you're on an ankle monitor, you're only supposed to get like 3-4 hours a day out, right? No, I was out from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. every 7 days a week. I went where I wanted to win. She even got the judge to take off my ankle monitor to let me fly to Detroit to see my sister graduate from high school. So yeah, she knew what it was. So when she retired, I remember her, she said, "If you need to get in contact with me, here's a number to my best friend." Got in contact with her, but when she officially retired, she came to my job that I had and she said, "Here's my number. Before you leave, call me." Went to church with me. She prayed with me the day before I had to turn myself in. The whole time I was away, she took care of my son. She made sure she had Christmas. When I got off the bus, she was on the phone with me. That lady rode for me. That's my fourth blessing. Again, what was supposed to break me, built me. So that wasn't nothing but redemption. But that ain't the end of it though yet. That ain't the end of it. Yeah, so I've been blessed through the whole thing. So I get up to Alderson, West Virginia. That's where I spent my time. I'm facing 90 months, stressed out, depressed. But it was people up there that knew me before I got up there. They say, "I know who you are. You such and such goddaughter." She had already sent the word up to the prison, "Look out for me." So in prison, my prison, get it, it's hard. It's emotionally hard. But my time, I didn't let the time do me. I did the time, okay? I had to dismiss whatever that judge was, because that's what man said. When she sentenced me to 90 months in jail, I was scared. But Bishop said the 7 is the year of completion, and guess what? I was gonna stand on that. He said, "Trust the process." That was his exact last words before I turned myself in. And y'all can't see it, but I got it tattooed on my arm. But it's tattooed on my arm for a reason. Because when you get these little nuggets in life, I just say, Bishop told me, trust the process. And at that moment, I didn't know what that process was gonna look like. But I do know now, and I know why now. So I get up there, I do my time. I'm facing 90 months. Going just orchestrating. I'm looking at it like it's scary. I'm missing the holidays. I'm missing everything. But emotionally, I'm breaking down. I tried to kill myself up there. I tried to take pills. I tried to do so many things to take the pain away. But God said, "No, you're going to sit in this for a reason." So I had to take those moments and realize what he was trying to teach me. But he was saving me from myself. Because when I was here, I had people that was around me just because of what I had. I drove nice cars. I had the money. I had the power. No, he said, "We're going to get rid of them." Because actually, at the end of the day, as my sister always told me, and this the real of it, out of the redemption, when rubber meets the road, you find out who really there for you. You find out who really there for you. My sister would tell me that, and she's sitting right there. She would tell me that every phone call, when rubber meets the road, you really find out who there for you. And God helped me to see. I started asking God to remove, reveal, and replace. Pull back my curtain to see who my enemies are. And he did. So everybody that fell off with me when I was up there, keep them there. Keep them there. And he did. And he did. So, and those are the real moments. The realness of it is, no, prison isn't easy, time-wise, but mentally, as long as you own who you are, you can get through it. And that's what I had to do, because I was so worried about people pleasing. I was so worried about who was going to be around me. I was so worried about what the world was going to say when I got back out, because I had this big business. Everybody knew who I was. I was scared, but I learned me. I identified me, and I knew what I didn't want when I went back to society. But the realness of the matter was, I still had a young child that I had to learn how to parent from behind the wall. Because not only did I go away, his daddy went away too. I remember the day I got in the car to turn myself in, and my baby said, "Mama, you coming to pick me up from school?" And I knew that I wasn't coming back. I knew. But how do you tell a child, I'm not coming back? I couldn't. So I just left. And I got in the car with my back to him. And he was screaming. That was the worst feeling in the world. That's the realness of it. When you have to walk away from the little babies and the families that you impact. That's the realness of it. You take away the redemption and you take away the resiliency. The realness of it, it hurts. Because I didn't know how to parent behind prison, but I knew I had to. So every morning I woke up, when the phones came on, I was on the phone with my child before he got on the bus. When he got off the bus, how was school? So I did my hardest to parent. I set up Skypes every holiday, every birthday. I was parenting from prison. You couldn't tell me that I couldn't parent from prison. I was sending money off my books. Go ahead. Before I left, I made sure his tuition was paid for months. I made sure he had clothes for years, and he still got them. That's how this not gonna be that. This not gonna be that. But the day when he looked me in my face and I said, son, I got sentenced. I said, son, I'm leaving. He said, mommy, you gotta go to jail, right? At 2. He told me where I was going. Yeah, mommy got to go to jail, so you be the man. I said, okay. He was 2. I put more pressure on him at 2 than any child probably ever bear in their life. So I remember calling home one day. He said to me, mommy, I had a conversation with God. I said, what? He said, God told me you're gonna be home when I'm 7. 90 months from when I got sentenced. I'm like, no, that's 12. He said, no. And he started to cry. He said, you're going to be home when I'm 7, and my daddy going to be home when I'm 8. That's some more redemption stuff in there because God spoke to him on my behalf. As I'm depressed, my child is obviously praying for me, with me, to me. We never hung up the phone without my son praying to me. So I said, no, I got off the phone. But when I got off the phone, I'm still trying to figure out this thing. I'm still facing 90 months. Well, I didn't know that I was going to get a letter and say, one, I was going to get a reduced sentence of 72 months. From 72 months, I was able to get in the RDAP program, which automatically takes 18 months off your sentence with how much ever halfway house you get. Because me being me, I'm a hustler. I'm going to get my way through. That's me. So I had all the best jobs in the prison. I was cool with all the counselors. Like, that was me. They knew me, Johnson, 083 Johnson. I was working out the gate every day, eating real food because I'm Johnson. So when it was time for me to go up for my team and stuff like that, they gave me 9 months halfway house. Off rip. She said, I could give you a year. She said, but I'm looking in your paperwork. You don't look like you're going to be hurting to society. I said, don't look at that. Don't look at that. But I get it. I would be taken away from somebody else who really needed that time for my selfish behaviors. So I'm going to sit in it them other 3 months, and I did that. But when I got out of prison, March 17th, 2020, yeah, I just celebrated that the other day. And guess what? Yeah. But the great thing about it is, this is the first year that I can say I am off federal probation, so it means more than anything. It means more anything because I ain't got to report to them no more. I ain't got to ask them, can I go nowhere? I ain't got to get them my financials. I'm free. You know what I'm saying? So when I got out March 17th, another redemption. Y'all got that word down, redemption. Because when y'all go home, I want y'all to apply y'all stories to redemption. Real. And when I give you resiliency, you're going to do that too, right? So I got out March 17, 2020, and guess what that was? COVID, when the world had just shut down. They said, we're not letting nobody in, but we letting people out. I ran out of there. But the thing about it is, the best thing about it is, when I got out, my son was turning 7 in July. So that same prayer, he said God told him, it really happened. So that was my 5th blessing. I didn't know, and I thought back, I said, dang, my son said he had a conversation with God. He did. I was home when he was 7, in the middle of COVID. And guess what? When I got to the halfway house, my godmother had already put her blessing on me again. They said, oh, that's Johnson. That's Miss Banks' daughter. Because guess what? My godmother was now on the board of the halfway houses, so I got to do what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? I moved around and walked around like I wanted to do. I went in there with, y'all took me to Chick-fil-A. I went to Chick-fil-A. Couldn't even walk in there with food. I'm Banks' daughter. So, but it's not a cocky statement. It's an honest statement. Because when God got his hands on you, it don't matter who in the way of it. Because he going to move all the mountains no matter what it say. No matter what man say at the end of the day, right? So as I got 9 months halfway house. I was supposed to stay there 9 months. I got out in 3 weeks. I was home for Mother's Day on an ankle monitor. I spent 7 months on an ankle monitor free, not with them people. So from there, that's the realness of it all. The resilience of it all is this. When I walked out those gates and walked down that hill, I said, I'm going to look this way, because if I look this way, I'm going back. So I just kept walking and kept walking and kept walking and kept walking and kept walking. I didn't even look in the mirror because I didn't want that repeated cycle. And I know people do it. That's their story. That's their journey of why. But that ain't mine. I learned my lesson the first time, and I'm not doing it again. So the resiliency of it is, when I got home, I was scared. I was really, really scared because I didn't know what life was going to throw me. I didn't know what the job industry looked like, because when I went in, I was very successful. It was nothing you couldn't tell me that I couldn't do. But it was scary. I was depressed for a very, very long time until I just got up. I started applying for jobs that was, to me, that ain't me. I'm not doing that. I worked at Smithfield for like 6 months. I said, oh no, this ain't me. I ain't do no code. I sit behind a desk. I sign stuff. That's me. Yeah, the big boss, not the little one. That's who I was. So when I started shrinking myself because I let the system shrink me instead of listening to what God had for me, because God had a bigger plan for me. God structured it so that my journey could be a blessing and I could stand here and show y'all what it looked like. But I didn't know that then. So I was allowing man to shrink me and not listening to what God was telling me here. So I did all these warehouse jobs until my brother had a conversation with me. He said, Cheron, stop shrinking yourself. He said, because as long as you shrink yourself, the people gonna shrink yourself, and you ain't gonna be able to show up like God sent you there. He said, you have something more than the average fella have. That's a college degree. So when he had that conversation with me, oh, that sparked something in me, baby. That sparked a thing in me. So when I used to go up for jobs and they say, oh, you a felon. I am, but guess what? You get paid to hire me. 20 grand. What we gonna do? Or they say, well, what did you go through? I had a family hardship. I didn't tell you what kind of hardship, but I went through a family hardship. So at the end of the day, you're going to let me in the door and I'm going to show you what I can do. And I'm going to show you how we're going to make this happen. When they told me I didn't qualify for something, no, I qualify because I got a piece of paper. So you can't tell me I can't go up for that supervisor role just because I'm a felon. My paper qualifies me. My God qualifies me. So I'm qualified to be in rooms that I didn't think I was supposed to be in, right? So, because you can't disqualify me, God gonna always qualify me. He's gonna always put me in spaces, because I always pray to him, God, allow me my name to be in rooms that people don't think I qualify for, because I'm gonna forever be his child, right? So that's how I operated. So I stand here for you today as an ex-felon who did 4.5 years in prison, who did 3 years out on federal. So when you on probation, you still in prison technically. So at the end of the day, I walked through all of that and I didn't let my past define who I am today, right? I went after, I knew what my dreams and aspirations were. I didn't want to be like the repeats, but I wanted to make an example and be an example to encourage people that go through journeys. It don't even have to be prison. It could just be journeys to show, as long as you steadfast and be ambitious about your own goals, you can keep looking forward, right? So in that, everything that was taken away from me, I brought it back threefold. 2 months after getting home. Matter of fact, all the money I saved up in prison, I came home and bought my own car. I don't need nobody, I'm gonna buy my own car. 2 months, had my own place, on an ankle monitor. So I was determined to make the devil mad, which is the system. I gave him a black eye. I did. I kicked him in his face. No, I'm not going to be a statistic. You're not going to turn this thing back around on me. I'm going to turn it around on you. So watch me. Watch me work. So, and that's exactly what I did. So since that, I went in when I was 31. Now I'll be 40 at the end of this year, right? And I know going into my 40s, the last 3 years of my life, I said I'm going to position myself to have the best 40th birthday that I could ever think of. And not so much a party, but I'm building a legacy for me and mine. That's what I'm doing. So in that, I done wrote a book, which is back there. Y'all come see me. Removing the Fragments. It talks about so much. It doesn't not just talk about my prison journey, but it talks about the trauma that I endured that prison helped me identify. And I stood on that because I was scared to talk about it, but I did it. Oh, I'm an Amazon bestseller, by the way. So let's start there. Secondly, I lost a job and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know where I wanted to be. So in that, I picked up a mop and a broom and birthed a cleaning business. So that's what I do that. Outside of that, I'm a youth coordinator for one of the biggest nonprofits in the area, Big Homies. I speak to the kids every day because I want them to see an example of what success looks like. Because so many of our kids they get caught up on what they see on TV and what they think that's this about this and this about that. No, I'm gonna show you what struggle really look like. I tell the kids all the time, y'all struggle down here ain't like the struggle back in Detroit, because that's where I'm from. Y'all got it made compared to where I'm from. We walked in 12 feet of snow, a school. They didn't close down school because it was flooding. The snow was up here and I walked. Water main break, black ice, I still walk. So the struggles that y'all endure, y'all don't know that struggle, even as my childhood, even as my adulthood. So, but I want to be the example to them of what that looks like. So when I see them every day, I love on them, I'm hug on them, and I teach them education is important. Life is important, because even for me, I grew up not having that backbone. I really didn't. But out of 27 grandchildren, I was the first one to ever graduate from a 4-year college. And I'm number 13, so I'm going to make a difference. Even when man put me behind the walls, I'm going to make a difference. So I do that. I'm a part of a lot of cohorts, Women of Justice, outreach. I actually just received a recognition back in LA, early part of the year. They gave me, the state of Los Angeles gave me a recognition for my courageous and efforts of just being on the board. So I received that. So I stand here for you today as a woman who went through the most traumatic experience of a lifetime. But I stand here standing tall to you. I stand here looking well to you. And I'm not saying life ain't perfect. And I hit my head sometime and I bump it. But guess what? The God we serve, I keep walking and walking and walking and walking. Because there's nothing that man can throw at me that's going to hurt. Because the one thing that hurt me, that's already done to me. So when the devil try to throw people, things at me, you got to come harder than that, baby. You got to come harder than that. Because what should have broke me already is already broke. So what I want y'all to do before I go, I want y'all to think about that one moment in your life that should have broke you, that should have took you out, or you take yourself out. Get that moment, and we're going to do something. We're going to do an exercise together, right? Everybody stand up for me. We're going to go to 7. Yep. Huh? Give me 1 second. So everybody got that one thought in their mind? All right. Go ahead. We're going to walk that thing out because we're a living testimony. Yeah. Y'all walk it out with me. Come on, Monty. Let's go. Yeah, walk out that thing. Walk out that thing. Take that thing that should have broke you. That's your testimony. That's your testimony. You're going to lay that thing out. You're going to own that thing. But you walk it out. You own it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. 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 That thing that hit you is set there, but you're gonna let it go today. You're gonna leave here well, whole. Yeah. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all time.
That was your intro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you good.
Want to set up.
Okay. You good. Go ahead. Do your thing.
Yes. Come on. That's good if it was a brawling testimony, but she said a walking testimony. Listen.
Of course.
We supposed to be doing that for success. But I can promise you, we can get
Yes. Hey.
amazing. And I know you remember
I do. Listen. When I was just, I kept telling my friends, I know that girl. But when I was just sitting there, I said, I know exactly who that is.